think they call this Freedom Plaza. It's like 14th Street, and we're about a block from the White House. The White House is behind me. The National Theater is now behind me. On the other side here is the Ronald Reagan building, I think they call it. The District of Columbia office building for the state government, city, whatever they call it, is here. Trump Tower, the hotel, see the tower there? That's Trump's hotel. That is just 2 or 3 blocks from the White House. And Department of Commerce is over here, that last building you see. And then over my shoulder now, I don't know if you can see, that's the Capitol, the U.S. Capitol building, way down there. But what I want to talk about is I'm getting a lot from Let's Go Help people who can't find it. In other words, I send you sources and they don't work out. They can't, they won't give you money for some reason or other. And I understand that's a problem. Actually, I'm going to change my audio here. Let's see, I always forget to do this. I hope you could hear me now. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Well, anyway, so if I send you sources, this is a Let's Go Help. I looked at it. A couple of questions this morning before I went out to run. And one was, she was trying to start a business in a rural area, agriculture related business. Oh, you can hear me great. And she went to a bunch of places, called her Congress and everything, congressman or two, and they all said no. And I'm trying to, it's a balancing act. You really got to play. I mean, first of all, nothing's easy. It's not going to be easy. You want to get money for free or something to start a business. What you're really into is learning possibilities. And this takes a long time. You may get lucky and, you talk to 3 people and, somebody says, hey, yeah, it sounds a good idea. Okay, let's do it. The chances of that happen is very rare. So and it probably won't happen to you. It would never happen to me. And I've started 3 or 4 businesses, So you have to be in it for the long haul, and always to keep trying. It's in other words, it's to me, it's like dating or getting a job. Here are 3 people that are hiring for now. Here, go get a job. Here's 3 sources. So you go and apply to 3 places, and they're going to say no, right? So what do? You're going to say, there's no jobs available? No, that's only 3 places. So what are you going to do when they say no? And that's what I try to do, is show you more sources. And what really the key to all of this is, not only the sources, but finding out what's there and how to readjust your idea to meet what's out there. To me, the important thing is, say you need $100,000 to start a business. So you go out and do that. Now, to me, I think the thing in life is to start the business. The key is not to get $100,000 to start a business. That's what you think you need now. That's what you think you have to have. The key is, how do you start a business? Okay, if you go out and look for $100,000 business and you talk to 20, 30, 40, 50 people and nobody's going to give you the money, well, then that's when you have to start exploring other ways to get that to happen. Like I say, the key is that you start a business, not the key is to get $100,000. Tell you the truth, if somebody gives you $100,000 and easy, you're probably going to fail, because that's what happens. Most things fail. And because when you go out looking for money, that's not looking for a customer. So if you're trying to start a business or anything, you have to figure out what customers want, how they want it, things like that. That's a long process. And you'll probably lose a lot of money as you go through that. So that's why there's ways now to shortcut that, and here's what you should do no matter who you are. Okay, you go to the Small Business Development Center, you check in with them. If it's an agriculture business, you go to not only the Small Business Development Center, but also the County Cooperative Extension Service, because they'll know all about the programs for rural areas. And there's a whole bunch. I got another list of about 50 of those, that I'll send you. And you just keep knocking on doors. You go to your state Department of Economic Development. You're trying to find people that are jobs are to help you start a business. Now, whether they help you start a business, sort of like, you want single women want to date, whether they want to date you or not, is another matter. Yeah, and that's what it's about. So you do that. Now, like I was talking to a friend of mine last night. They work for a large international organization. They want to start a conference center, out in the woods, maybe 50 acres or something, in a big conference center. And yeah, they probably need millions of dollars to do that. And they could try to find that. But to me, if you're starting a conference center or something like that, or want something in the woods for people to go out and find out what the real meaning of life is, or whatever it is you have in mind, the key to that, running that successfully, is how to get people to come to a conference, not how to raise $1 million. How to get people to come to conference. So to me, instead of spending 6 months, a year, whatever it is, to try to find $1 million for that project, find another way to have a conference. Okay. In other words, like, you could do a crowdfunding campaign right now and design this conference and say, if you pay ahead of time, then we'll have the conference. So you charge $300 or whatever you're going to do, crowdfunding, and see if that works. Okay, it's either going to fail, it's going to be maybe mediocre, or be a great success. No matter what it is, you're going to learn a hell of a lot, right? And that's why you have to buy it, because who's going to come? You have to figure out who would want to know about this, who maybe come to that. That's the marketing point. And you're going to have to do that anyway. Any business, anything you start, that's going to be your success or failure of your business, is getting customers, not getting money to start a business. So to me, that's one thing. And the people who give you money to start a business are not your customers. They think that you can make money for them. That's why, like a Shark Tank. The Shark Tank is a place where rich people have money and they'll give you money to start a business, okay? You think they're smart because they're rich. No, they're not. They're the dumbest people in the world, because the average business has a 50% success rate. Shark Tank people and all the venture market people have only a 15% success rate. So they're 3 times worse than the average business. And these are supposed to be the smartest people in the world. So that's why. And then what people do, you learn what these fat cats want so you can get their money. And that's not the same thing you have to learn about in getting money from customers who you want to help and provide a service to. That's what you have to learn. And they're 2 different things. So you're wasting your time trying to get money from people that do this, and then go out and learn what customers want. Go learn what the customers want first, and do that without having money. Or you hook up with somebody else who's already running conferences. Say, hey, let me run a conference. If we get enough people, then we'll put it on. If we don't get enough people, nothing lost. And there's other ways to do it. So it's finding somebody who has something similar. You have a retail idea. Find a store that has an empty space, and you put your product in that store. So you don't have to pay money to have a storefront and all this kind of stuff. And what I do, after those first 3 or 4 places don't work, I show you other things like that, where there's money. I mean, you stumble over it. But the most important thing is you're out talking to people that you don't know, that may be able to give you some kernel of an idea that you could expand on. You don't know where stuff comes from, or what a good idea is. Everybody thinks they have $1 million idea, but none of them do anything, so you really don't know for sure. And the people who already made money with $1 million idea, it worked for them, and it probably won't work for you. So they sell that thinking, here's a way to do it. Like me, the only way I do it is give you tools to help find that. And if you need it easy, that may happen, but it's not likely to happen. So that's why, if you really want to start something, try the big stuff, see if you could get it, see why they, if it's worth it for you to try to change what they need, or try your idea to fit what they need, because that's what you wind up doing. You try to find out what those people want, and you put it in writing, this is what they want, okay, tell me what you want, and I'll put it, I'm going to do that, and then you go out and see what the hell you can do. The other thing is you start small, very small, and you find out how to do something. I mean, if you're giving a seminar at the library for free, that's better than wasting a year and a half looking for $1 million for something, and that's what you should be doing. So there's all kind of hurdles, that you're going to face, in getting your idea through. And I think the important thing is keep trying other sources, keep getting feedback. If you haven't talked to 100 people yet, you're just beginning. That's why it's easier to get feedback from customers first before you find the magic person who's going to give you the money for everything. That you start real small and say, hey, how could I test this idea with just a few people? Can I get, find a blog that covers this issue now and say, hey, why don't we do a conference? I'll put on the conference for you, and you have all the people that may be interested, and we'll put on a conference together. So now you're finding customers right out of the box instead of trying to find $1 million first, and you're in business already. And that's what the most important thing you have to learn is how to get customers. Unless you have some kind of thing that requires big technology, you have to invest in $1 million in some whiz-bang thing or something. That's a different story. There's 1,000 ways to do something, and there's 1,000 ways to do anything. And I think all of us, what we have to do is, if the idea we have is not working, nobody cares about it, then we got to change it. And how do we adjust it? How do we change it? How do we change it for somebody else who's already given money, maybe interested, or ways to do it without getting money to do it? It's how do you be flexible in your idea and needs? And that's why it's always important to go out and what society is doing out there. How you think society to be is fine, but it doesn't mean anything if it doesn't want to do it. So you have to find out, go out there, keep getting feedback from people on what society wants, how they want it, and you have to build it to fit them. I always, the hero of a journey and the journey of a hero, is always that, they go out and slay the dragon and come back to the village or something to tell them about all this stuff. And if the village doesn't want to listen, you have to figure out what they'll listen to and get your ideas into it that way. Not just say they're dumb and you go away. No, you're not solving anything. It's no fun. So the fun is you trying to figure out what the hell this world is, how the hell you could use the pieces in it, to the best of your advantage, instead of just believing the world should be all set up to fit what you believe it should be, which doesn't work. That's why my first 2 businesses failed. All I do is this. And I went to MBA school and everything like that, and everything was failing. Nothing worked. I was doing it like I was told. It was all failing. And that's when I said, oh man, and I wasn't having fun. So that's why the third time I started business, man, I'm just going to have fun. I don't care if I fail again. Nobody else cares, so why should I? And then when I started having fun, that's when it's different. That's when you see me now with question mark suits, and that's what came out of that. Man, what we have to offer is what's weird about us, what's unique about us, and that could be your business. You're trying to copy somebody else does that better. And they have money to do it. And that's why you need money to do it, because it's not coming from your soul. So you have to buy your business, and buy your customers, instead of coming from the heart. So there's a lot of ways to do things. If you're failing and everybody doesn't want to give you money, that's fine. But you have to then figure out another way, whether it's one customer at a time, one thing at a time, or whatever. Start real small. Find other people to work with, somebody that has resources or whatever that you could be part of to get your idea through them. Everybody, it's sort of like if you had a sweater, you want to design a sweater. I see Nordstrom on the rack. They have 1,000 sweaters in there, right? They always need a new sweater, right? So instead of you starting a building and selling a new sweater, no, you contact Nordstrom. Hey, I got to do this sweater, and that's what's even more possible now than anything because of things like crowdfunding and other investors. Instead of a grant, you have the investors. See, investors, that's like getting married. That's why I never liked investors. I've got married enough. And if you want to do that and you're up for that, that's fine. I mean, like I say, there's lots of ways to get through life, and we have to find our own way. And I think you're more successful in life if you start listening to your own heart and what's good for you. And it's going to be wrong a lot of times. That's okay. And other people's ideas are going to be wrong a lot of times. Yeah. So you're going to do a lot of wrong shit all the time, no matter who you are. So you might as well do your own wrong shit because you'll learn better. You're doing somebody else's bad ideas. You don't learn. You just call the person an idiot who gave you the idea and you go on. But if you thought it through and it's something you really believe in, you'll get more out of it. And that's how you learn, is by failing in your ideas and say, hey, what was really wrong with that? And trying to analyze that so the next time you're going to do it better. And the only wrong thing to do is nothing. If you do nothing, you're doing it wrong. If you do something that is better, anything is better than nothing. So just go out and do anything. Doesn't matter what the hell it is. People say it's nuts. That's fine. If you feel it's good, who the hell cares what other people say? Because you're doing something. And that's the only way you get ahead. That's the only way you learn. You don't learn anything by doing nothing and waiting for the perfect idea. Nobody knows what the perfect idea is beforehand anyway. You stumble into it. You try a whole shitload of bad things, and all of a sudden you go, oh, God, this is working. I don't know what the hell I did, but it's working. And that just comes through trial and error. So get out there and trial because you're going to get a lot of errors. And I'll be here 15 more years, I hope, helping you find new things to trial.